How you guys doing? So today we're going to be installing a, mini split system. So for those who don't know, a mini split is an air duct system. So you don't need no duct runs, no trunk lines, no duct flex. You don't need to put grills. You don't need to return. It's simply just what we call a mini split head, which is this here, and a mini split condenser, which is, I will show you that, guys, in a minute. It works the same way in a way. This is a 1 ton. It's only going to clear this bottom section of this house. The upstairs is going to be ran by something else. There's a lot to get into about a mini split, so I'm not going to get into too much. I'm just simply going to show me installing it. So this mini split here is a used mini split. So it's been installed before. So for those who don't know, when you run into a customer who don't mind using a used system, there are many factors that come into that. It could last 6 months, it could last 6 years, it could last 6 days. It is used. There was a reason why we uninstalled it. You know, whether they said it was a leak, whether it didn't turn on, whatever the case may be. In this case, when I was doing the install on this system, they said it was leaking, that they kept having to refill it, refrigerate. It's a 410A system, so they kept having to refill it and refill it and refill it. Once I got the head off the wall, the back, the thread, it comes with a little, like maybe like 1.5 feet of copper, and then you got to connect another piece if it's running longer, of course. That wasn't tightened. I wasn't able to untie it with my hands, so that's where the refrigerant was leaking out of. They also said it didn't start. But the reason for that is because they had it wired to a light switch, and that light switch burnt out. So I brought it home, I tested it out, I charged it up, and it seemed to run fine. You know, I had it running, I pressurized it, let it sit for about a week probably, and the PSI is held at 250 PSI. So generally, in my opinion, it's still a good system. So we're gonna install it. This head is going to go here. We'll make our hole. The hole is going to be for the copper and the drain to go outside and drop down. So our head will be here. On the other side, on the ground, will be our condenser. We'll level that out with the condenser pad. We'll install a disconnect box, run a whip, run the communicating wire. The first thing we do when we get started on this is we mount this plate here. So this is the plate that goes on the actual wall. We level it out. We make our hole as according to this arrow and the edge of this. We make our center point. We cut a hole out with a hole saw to run the drain and the copper line set. Once that's on, the mini split should pop into place. Like I said, it is used, so there are some cracks on this already. Like you can see, those cracks. Not really cracks; they just don't snap in. But the coil, I took the coil out. I cleaned the coil. So it works fine. So we're hoping that it continues to work fine. The customers do know it's used and do know the possibilities of it not being able to function down the line. Like I said, 6 days, 6 months, 6 years down the line, they do know that. So I explained to them what can happen because it is used. There may be a leak. That may not have been the only leak. Maybe there's another leak. Like I said, we did pressurize it. We did everything we could to make sure that it wasn't a function. But there is that possibility for those who don't, know. So we're going to go ahead and start by mounting the plate on there, making our hole, and we'll continue from there. Let's go ahead and get started. Mounted already. So once the plate is mounted, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our center point here to make our hole for the line set. Probably should have moved it over actually. The way we find that is we will get a level. We'll put the level butted up to here, come down with it, follow this arrow here, and wherever that center point is usually where our hole is gonna start. We'll make it with the hole saw, and then usually on the other side we'll have to cut a little bit out with the sawzall. But let's go ahead and do that. Mark lined out. Here's our center point. We're gonna go ahead and start cutting here and try to cut through the outside. We might have to go outside and finish cutting in towards the inside. Let's go ahead and cut that hole. Alright, so we made it through the first piece of plywood. Of course, there's insulation, so we're just gonna try to rip out some of this insulation as much as possible, so we continue to go to the other side of the wall, to the outside. The outside is also wood and then siding on it, so as long as we get most of the insulation out of here, shouldn't be a problem. Like I said, so my drill should get to at least to make the hole out there, like the little hole from the bit, and then we can probably finish it from the outside in to get a perfect hole. Let's go ahead and make a little hole out there to see how far we can get through. Alright, so we got our hole knocked out. Let's go look at the other side, make sure we didn't break too much siding off. Normally when that happens, you know, some of the siding comes off, it chips, especially if it's on the bottom of the siding. So if our hole was like here, you know, it would definitely break off a piece there. So let's just go look at it. Our hole. So our line set will be coming out from there. It will drop down. We'll run it into the condenser. Boom. We could move the condenser over, but we don't want to put it in front of the windows. This is our condenser here. Our disconnect box should be going here. I have some wire in here I got to pull out. Then my whip will come up and I'll probably bring it along here, tack it up, make it look nice into the disconnect box. So now let's go ahead and get the communicating wire wired up to the head inside. That way we could send everything through the hole all at once. Of course, this is our head. This is how it will look on the wall. Sorry if you can't see with the sun. That's how it will look on the wall. Here's our communicating wire here. So the wires are going to be green, red, white, and black. And they should go color coded. Once you open this head here, you open it from the sides. And once you open the head, here's your filters. You can just take them out and rinse them out. Your coil, like I said, the coil still looks in pretty good condition. I've seen it way, not even worse, because this is not that bad. That's your fan motor down there. Here are your fins. This is where your wire will go. Once you take this little panel off, you have one screw there. Your wire will go from the back of the system into here. Some people put the system up first and then run the wire. Some people put the wire with the copper line set and send everything through at once. I've done both. It's fairly simple either way. This time I'm going to put the wire first and send it through. Just because I'm inside and the wire is inside already. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get it wired up and measure how much wire I'm going to need. Give myself another maybe 2-3 feet just in case I cut something wrong or I need to move the condenser, whatever the case may be. You don't want to be short wire, you want to have a little bit more. So let's go ahead and get that done. I might just send the rest of this wire through and just cut it outside. That way I know 100% that I have enough wire. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this little panel off, send the wire through, wire it up, and get everything shoved through that hole. Let's go ahead and do that. So there's our head. It's a little bit easier with two people. You know, you can have someone, or even three. I've done it with as many as 4 or 5 people, but you know, you can have two on the head while one's sticking everything through and another one outside pulling everything down. But you know, it's possible. So we have the head up, which is the good thing. Now the inside's done. Honestly, the inside is done. Like I said, it is used. It's a new system, so you know, every some stuff that doesn't crack, that doesn't click in because it's cracked, but it holds up. There was the mounting brackets where it bracket onto. They were intact, so it's able to hold up. But I've gone as far as seen people, you know, put trim around it and build trim. But that's the head. Usually, this is about 1,000 square feet, right? Usually, tonnage covers up to I think 400 per ton. So 1 ton 400, 2 ton 800, 3 ton, you know, 1,200. This is only a ton, so it's only going to cover up to about 400 or 500, maybe 600. With good insulation, with ceiling fans, it will cover up this room. You know, they got 2 fans. They have that big one there, a 52-inch fan here. The whole house is insulated down here, upstairs in the attic, and this in between the floors is a 2-story building, 2-story little house. So it's well insulated. So they should be getting enough air with the 2 fans going. So now all our work is on the outside. So let's go outside. All right, so this is what we're looking at. So we have the line set coming through. We have the communicating wire dropping down. There's my drain. I gotta finish pulling it through. I gave myself enough slack here on the communicating wire in case I gotta move the condenser or whatnot. But we might just leave it there. It looks like it's pretty good. So pretty much we're gonna bend that line set downwards, bring it down here, come out this way and come straight in into the ports. I'm gonna throw some seal tie over this wire to protect it from any animals, critters trying to eat on it. They live on a ranch, so we're gonna try to protect that wire as best as we can, so we don't have no problems later on in the future. The drain, I'll probably put some seal tie connected to it also, or maybe PVC, I'm not sure, and drop it down, maybe take it outwards. We'll see what happens with the drain. I kind of want to bring it out just a tad bit, just so they notice it. If I just leave it hanging, dropping down, you know, they won't really notice unless they come to look at the condenser. So I might check it out a little bit so they can see the water dripping, or if it's not dripping. If it's not dripping, it's not draining properly, and it could back up to the inside and then flood out. Condenser, like I said, we'll level this out right here. We'll put it on a condensing pad. We'll probably put some screws into the pad to anchor this down so it doesn't fall over. Like I said, our web will come up, tack it along the wall, make it look pretty, come up to the disconnect box. And so right now what I want to do is I want to send seal tied up, get the copper connected, bring it down, connect the copper and all, and then we'll go from there. Pad leveled out. Want to make sure it's leveled. It's pretty good. Pretty good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to all the open areas. We shoved some little squares in there that we call waffles. They're there to level it out. So now we're going to use the rest of the dirt and just shove it all in there, just so it has a steady balance on there. And then we'll set the condenser on there and start. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but as I was going, I was measuring the distance from the wall to the pad, which is 12.5. Regulations state that the condenser needs to be, it's mandatory really. I think, don't get out, I think, but I'm pretty sure regulations state that the condenser needs to sit at least 12 inches away from the wall. I've seen them butt it up to the wall. In some cases, you have to do that, because in some cases, these two walls will be very close together, or the sidewalk comes off and the condenser is way bigger. So I've seen we have to butt it up to the wall, and also I've had to do it myself a couple times. You know, let the bosses know, whatever. So So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and finish stuffing this. We'll set the condenser on it, start seal tightening, running our copper down, and continue on. Let's go ahead and get it. What I did here to the copper is I pretty much just rolled it out on a flat surface. I didn't want to do it outside because it's real bumpy. So we're gonna insulate. We're gonna insulate one of them. The other one doesn't even need to be insulated. We're gonna insulate the 1/2 inch. I mean, no, I think it's 1/4 inch and 3/8. 3/8 1/4 inch. Sorry. We're gonna insulate one of them. We're gonna go ahead and take it to the outside. And before we do that, though, we gotta flare fit these. Usually on normal, residential split systems, they are welded, soldered on. You solder them on. Mini splits have flare fittings, so you gotta flare them out. Kind of make it look like a bowl. You gotta make sure your flare fittings not cracked. You gotta make sure they're done properly. Otherwise, you will have a leak. I have some thread sealant that we're gonna use for them for that reason. So let's get these insulated and outside, and we can probably flare fit and then take it out. Flared fitting, you need to make sure you have these on first. So once you take off this cap, let's see if I can do it with one hand. Once you take off that cap, you need to make sure you put your fitting on first, because once you flare it, there's no way you're gonna get your fitting on. You can throw it on from the other end, but if that side's connected already, then you're in some trouble. You're gonna have to cut your copper and then redo it, and that may be your only piece of copper that you have. So trust me, I ran into that problem before. So this is a flare fitting tool. Pretty much, you find the size your copper is. So this is a 3/8. So we're gonna put it in the 3/8 hole, which is here, and then we'll connect it to this, like that, and then we start screwing, and this flares it open. So at the end, my copper will look round like a cone, kind of like that. And then we'll jump on to the next one, which is, I think, is a, what did I say, 1/4 inch. So that will be our next one, 1/4 inch. So I'm gonna go ahead and flare these, and I'll show you the aftermath. Flared should look like after you flare it. Sorry if you can't see, this camera not too good. So it should look like a cone almost. When you bring in your fitting, it should sit in there like so. Like I said, you can't really see because it's camera. I'll try to get a picture for you and post it. But that's what it should look like. We're gonna do that to the 1/4 inch also, and we won't mess with those sides until we know how much copper we're gonna need and how much we're gonna cut off. Alright, so it's getting dark on me, so I have to bring out my light. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna get the seal tight, and I already cut some off. I'm gonna go ahead and grab that and start running it through here. It's a pain in the butt sometimes to do that, so I'm probably gonna spray some DW40 so that way it goes right in. So let me do that real quick, and then I'll get back to you. Alright, so we got the seal tight ran up to the communicating wire. I got the copper lines bent down. We're gonna go ahead and connect our flared fittings. I'll try to show you the process. It's just, very dark, so it's gonna be very hard to see. So that's why I've just been doing it and then getting back on showing you guys. Let me see if I can just put it over here and get a good view. Alright, so I got one copper line up there. I'm gonna go ahead and connect the other one. This is something I'm using right here. It's called Nylon glue. It's a gasket and thread sealer. It's for refrigeration, and it does not contaminate your system. It's like a pipe dope kind of, like a pipe glue, but it's so you can reuse and open up the gaskets, and it works very well. Like I said, it's like a pipe dope, like the white things you put, like Teflon tape, kind of nylon tape, whatever it's called. It's kind of like what it is. It's just, I feel like it's a little better. It doesn't contaminate it, and it seals it very well. Let me go ahead and get back to work. Alright guys, so like I said, right now we have it tacked down here. Nice and straight all the way up. The drain stops here for now. What I want to do is I want to get I'm going to connect it with a PVC coupling here, like that, and then I'm going to bring it a little more down and then put a PVC 90 coming out. That way, as they walk by, they'll notice it draining or not draining. I have it all zip tied up. It looks real nice. You know what I'm saying? It comes down. I got the flared fittings connected already. Right here. Let me get a light. Got the flared fittings connected. I got the communicating wire connected. Well, ran in. It's not connected yet. I'm not gonna connect it yet for that reason, because the homeowner hasn't gotten the electrician to bring the wire out here yet. I was told it was just sticking out. It's not. So they're gonna do that tomorrow. So I'll probably be back maybe Friday to put the disconnect box to run my whip to here and get it going. Charge it up, pressurize it, vacuum it up. But we're gonna call it a night tonight. That's the finished product. I'm gonna go ahead and close up shop, and I might come back when we have it started, or when I'm putting on the disconnect. Maybe when I'm putting on the disconnect, that way, you know, I can walk you through it if you don't already know how to do it. And I'll share some tips with you guys that I know on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and close up shop right now. Like I said, I just wrapped it up already. I won't be able to continue until I get my disconnect box up, but we're about 95% done. You know, all we have to do is wire up the disconnect, pressurize it, make sure there's no leaks. We need to put it on a vacuum, get below 500 microns, and charge the system up. There's no refrigerant in it right now. It's a 410A system. As soon as we can charge it up, we can get it going, get it cool. Like I said, thank you for watching. Just some tips that you might want to know. I'll leave them at the end of the video. Right off the back, like I said, you know, mainly that drain. You want to keep that drain below everything, below the line set. You don't want to put it above, on top of the line set and the wire, you know, because then the water has to come upwards and then drop down, and it's just a easier way for it to get backed up. You know, we don't want that. You know, I always want my jobs to look nice and pretty. Like this, we have the floor leveled out for our condenser pad. When I come back, I'm going to put anchors in here just so it has a lesser chance of falling over. You know, when I put my disconnect box, I put some caulking around it just so nothing builds up behind there, gets inside my disconnect, and, you know, burn out my wires. Like I said, it's a lot easier with the more than one person, but, you know, it's possible to do. It just takes a little long. With the flared fittings, you don't want to over tight them. You know, just hand tighten them just enough till you feel your gut telling you to stop. You can crack the flare. That wouldn't be good. Remember to put your flare fitting on before you actually flare it. I just showed you that I just forgot to do that. It happens, you know, mistakes happen. Like I said, I put some thread pipe on it, pipe thread, you know, to prevent any possible leaking. We have everything nice and zip tied, you know, for the customer to make it look nice and pretty. Eventually, I think they want to put a line set cover on it, which would probably be best, you know, so if it hails or whatever the case may be, it doesn't crack your line set. I'm also going to come back and fill that hole in up there, you know, so nothing gets in and builds it up. Some other tips, you know, make sure your wall plate is leveled on the inside, you know, that way you don't have a crooked head. Like I said, there's way more to these things. You know, they come in. This is a one header, so you can only connect to one head. When I say head, I mean the inside part. The inside the one that blows the air out, if you will. But so there's only one line set port. If you can see in there's only one line set port. I think you can have as many as 4 on one condenser. So what I've seen is you know, they'll run 4 all into one. If I have a picture, I'll post it up there on how it looks when you have multiple lines running. So you have one running here, stopping, but you have one next to it going all the way to the bedroom or whatever. It's just a lot when it comes to these mini splits. They're energy efficient, so they save more energy than a window unit will. So there's just a lot to know. You know, if you want to know more, you can definitely look them up online. They come in Mitsubishi, Train, a few other ones I don't know right off the head, but I can't remember. It's been a while since I did a mini split, but They have the pad where you can put it actually up in the air just in case of possible flooding. You know, there's just so much stuff you can do with the mini split. Um, like I said, they're a little more expensive, I believe, but they're less energy. They have less energy efficient. They run off 220. Some other things you might want to know, just go ahead and comment below, ask me some questions. I'll answer them to the best of my knowledge. And like I said, thank you for watching.